When I turned 12, my mom and aunt took me to an amusement park to celebrate. The sun was merciless that day, the temperature hovering around 103 degrees. We'd been riding roller coasters and spinning rides for hours, and I was having the time of my life, at least at first. But as the afternoon wore on, I started feeling strange. My head swam, my vision grew fuzzy and bright at the edges, and it was getting harder to focus. I didn't understand what was happening, and thinking it was nothing, I didn't tell my mom. Instead, I just said I needed to use the bathroom. Inside, the tile there was thick and humid. A man entered behind me and slipped into one of the stalls. I barely noticed him, too distracted by the heat and my dizziness. I splashed my face with the only working faucet, a pathetic, warm trickle, and tried to pull myself together. As I left, the same man emerged a few seconds later, his eyes lingering on me just a little too long. About half an hour later, I felt the dizziness return. I tried to go on a ride with my mom, but just looking at it made my head spin. I told her I'd sit this one out, so she went on alone while my aunt stayed with me. As I tried to focus on my mom in the crowd, my stomach lurched. I leaned over the rail and vomited, the world spinning around me. When my mom came down, concern etched on her face, she asked if I wanted to go home. I stubbornly insisted I was fine and just needed to use the bathroom again. I rushed inside, barely making it to the toilet before throwing up again. As I staggered to the sink, someone hurried past me, slamming a stall door. I tried to ignore it, desperate to wash the taste from my mouth. But as I glanced up at the mirror, I caught a glimpse of something unsettling. A man, probably the same one from before, peering at me through the crack of the stall door, his eyes fixed and unblinking. When our gazes met in the reflection, he jerked back, pretending to be busy. My heart pounded. I dried my hands and bolted out, only to see him emerge moments later, calm and collected, as if nothing had happened. My mom must have sensed something was off because she kept me close after that, her eyes darting around nervously. My aunt and I managed a few more rides, but the fun was gone. Eventually, I told my mom I needed the bathroom again, this time for real. She told me to hurry, and I went in alone. I'd barely been in the stall for 2 minutes when the bathroom door crashed open. Heavy footsteps echoed, slow and deliberate, drawing closer. Fear prickled my skin. I lifted my feet up, hoping to hide. The footsteps stopped right in front of my stall. For what felt like an eternity, I could hear him breathing, slow and heavy, just on the other side of the thin door. Then, finally, he turned and walked away. I waited, heart hammering, then finished up as quickly as I could. Before unlocking the door, I peered through the crack, just as he had. My blood ran cold. He was standing by the urinals, staring directly at my stall, a twisted smile on his face. I didn't wait to see what he'd do next. I burst out, ran straight to my mom, and told her I wanted to leave. Relief washed over her face. She scooped me up and practically ran for the exit, glancing nervously over her shoulder the whole way. As we hurried out, my mom whispered something to a security guard, then hustled me to the car. Only when we were safely driving away did she let out a shaky breath. She told me she'd noticed a man following us all day, always lingering just a few steps behind, especially when I went to the bathroom. She'd told security to watch him, but she was terrified because he kept tailing us even as we left. I never told her what I saw in those bathrooms, the way he watched me, the way he waited. Even now, I wonder what might have happened if I hadn't trusted my instincts and run. That day, the heat wasn't the only thing making my skin crawl. Some dangers hide in plain sight, and sometimes the scariest rides aren't the ones you find in an amusement park. My wife and I took our 2.5-year-old daughter to her classmate's birthday party for the first time. It was one of those indoor gym places filled with trampolines, swings, and climbing structures, a playground designed for kids to burn off energy and have fun. Most of the children were her age or maybe a year older, so we felt comfortable letting her roam a bit while we stayed close, watching carefully from nearby. At first, everything seemed perfect. She was laughing, jumping on the trampoline with a little friend, completely in her element. I was trying to stay low-key, not wanting to be the overprotective parent at a first social event. But then, out of nowhere, a much older boy, maybe 12 or 13, climbed onto the opposite side of the trampoline. He looked like he belonged to the family throwing the party. Almost instantly, I noticed another mother pull her child off the trampoline, her face tight with concern. That moment should have been my cue to act, but I hesitated. Before I could move my daughter, the boy jumped near her, and everything changed. I still can't erase the image from my mind. My daughter flying through the air, helpless and out of control. She landed hard, face first and stomach first, partly on the trampoline net and partly on the padded edge. The sound of the impact echoed in my ears. My heart stopped. I dropped everything and rushed to her side. She was silent for a terrifying moment, her little face contorted in pain. Then she went limp, and I thought she had passed out. Panic surged through me as I checked her hands and feet, desperate for any sign of movement. Slowly, she started crying, which was a relief, but she was clearly hurt. She pointed her stomach, wincing through tears. The party came to a halt. Parents gathered around us, their faces etched with concern. A teenager working the party tried to reassure me, saying kids sometimes get the wind knocked out of them and might briefly lose consciousness. But I couldn't shake the dread that something more serious was wrong. We left the party early, my mind racing with fear and guilt. At home, my daughter seemed mostly okay. No vomiting, no bruises on her stomach, and she could move her neck without much trouble. She was just more tired than usual, which my wife thought was from all the excitement and a disrupted nap. But I can't stop replaying that moment when I froze instead of acting faster. I should have pulled her off the trampoline the second I saw that older boy jump on. I feel like I failed her, like I left her vulnerable when I should have protected her. I'm terrified I missed something serious, an internal injury that hasn't shown itself yet. And worse, I worry what the other parents think of me now. I'm probably that guy who lost control, caused a scene, and couldn't keep his kids safe. The guilt is suffocating. I keep asking myself, what if I had been quicker? What if I had trusted my instincts instead of hesitating? What if the injury is worse than it seems? Every time she smiles or plays, I'm haunted by the memory of her flying through the air and the fear that it could have ended so much worse.